Hi guys, welcome back to the channel and welcome to week number 4 of the 1 Week 1 Prep. 1 Week 1 Prep is a series of episodes where we're targeting emergency preparedness 1 week at a time. So far guys, we have covered water on the week number 1, we have covered food on the week number 2, and we have covered the blackouts or emergency power outages on the week number 3. So hopefully guys, so far you are enjoying the videos or at least finding them helpful. If you do, then please comment down below. So this week, week number 4, we are basically targeting the first aid or really basic of medicinal preparedness. And it's going to be a rather short one because it is fairly explanatory, but nonetheless, this is a big part of the preparedness. And you might think this is very simple and everybody in the household and in the cars have the first aid kit. Well, according to research guys, it's actually not the case. And it is rather shocking. So UK Public Safety of Risks Perception, Resilience and Preparedness report shows that only 57% of households actually have some first aid kits or any first aid supplies. That means that 43% of households don't have anything at all. I did try to find some data in terms of the first aid kit for the cars in the United Kingdom. I couldn't find the information, but as a general of the all over the world to what information holds, apparently only 68% of people do carry some sort of emergency first aid kits in their cars, which again is rather shocking. The second thing is, again guys, some of you might think, well, you know, it's not really a lot could happen, right? We're talking about the plasters. You might have some plasters around the house and you think, well, you don't really expect anything major to happen. But again, it doesn't really have to be a major thing, okay? Especially if you have children, kids run around the garden, if you're cooking, you know, burns, cuts, that sort of thing. And as well, I give you a good example of my own example, in fact, that literally a couple months back, I was in a garden and I was staking up my tomatoes with the bamboo stick. And generally, as I put the stick in the ground, I was sort of overreaching a little bit and the bamboo stick snapped, right? Luckily for me, right, hear me, I actually went flying forward and bamboo stick hit me right there in the neck, right where near the windpipe would be. I was petrified. I literally gone forward and I thought the bamboo stick literally just came out on the other side. I was extremely lucky that I didn't go there full pelt. I still managed to support myself on the bushes of the tomatoes. And the most important thing, the bamboo stick actually frayed. So rather than me having a straight through and through, it's basically frayed and just hit me, and the small particles of the bamboo went into my skin. And again, lucky enough, this was on my bone, so it didn't penetrate it through. The point was, right, I was like panicking. I quickly ran inside the kitchen, had a look in the mirror, make sure nothing was sort of sticking out on the other side. And of course, I have to then dress the wound, clean it up, and, you know, make sure everything was okay. As I said, luckily, okay, it wasn't as bad as I anticipated. But the point is, accidents happen. Even things for a second I would have not imagined of this kind of incident happening, but it did. Okay, so luckily enough for me that it wasn't bad, but the point is it happens. So for all of you who are thinking, well, it's not a big deal, not a lot can happen, well, actually anything can happen. We just cannot see, you know, all the possibilities. Nonetheless, so having the plasters in the house is great, but the preparedness of just have to be just that a little bit better. Another thing as well, it's and again, I speak from experience, a lot of people have first aid kits or first aid supplies, and generally they're either in the bathroom cabinet upstairs potentially, or sort of all over the place, or maybe they're just sort of put in the back of a cupboard and forgotten about, because again, on a daily basis, we don't really think about things happening. But again, it is very important to be able to have your kit accessible and to make sure that every member of your family knows that. Again, I have really comprehensive first aid kit that's inside the house, more than one, but there is one specifically that is in the hallway in the drawer. For some reason, somebody decided to bosh an umbrella right on the top of that drawer there. So once when I needed to get access to the cupboard, it was a little bit challenging. Okay, it basically took seconds or extra seconds or even a minute of the time of me getting that first aid kit. The point is, okay, whatever happens, even if you call 999, okay, the seconds, okay, the first seconds that happen where you do need your first aid kit could be absolute paramount. So you have to make sure, and I know it sounds like a common sense, that it is really easily accessible. And the same thing with the plasters. I've done this time again. I have a box of plasters in the kitchen, but for some reason you just end up piling stuff in the cupboard in front of this, and if you want to get the plaster, you end up taking stuff out. So perfect example, okay, stuff has to be really there for you. When you need it, you just want to be able to open the cupboard, open the drawer, get this out, and you're done. This is one of the big points. So, right, let's talk about the first aid kits and what we have. So, right, again, it all depends on your preparedness level, but of course, have yourself a very, very basic preparedness kit is absolutely must. Whether you buy this or whether you choose to build this yourself, it is totally up to you. I do like to use a combination of both. So, first of all, okay, in the glove box of the cars, we have a very, very basic first aid kit. Again, you can pick them up for like a £2. You've got some plasters there, you've got some wipes, and well, you've got some alcohol pads, antiseptic wipes, butterfly closures, and iodine pads, and some cotton swabs, right? So this is very, very basics to have in your car. Again, in a glove box, if you just something that you need is right there. Of course, on the top of that, right, I do strongly suggest having a decent first aid kit in your car. If your car doesn't come with it, then buy one or build one yourself. It is very inexpensive, but again, the quantity is got to be key. Okay, if you're just starting, right, and I give you this heads up for if you're just a new to preparedness, pop into the Home Bargains, okay, or any other sort of shop like this. You can buy one of those little kits like this in a pretty little red box for £4.99. Okay, you can get those again from majority of the supermarkets even as well. They are around the same, £3.99, £4.99. They're not fully loaded, but there are very, very basic things there that you will need. And also, of course, guys, on the top of the having a first aid kit, it's knowing what to do with the stuff that you have and knowing some basic things like a recovery position. Again, it's all well and good of stocking up on certain medicinal things or the first aid kits. If you don't know what to do with it, then it's totally pointless. So it is a good idea to be able to do a little bit of research and understand what you need to use certain things for. So first of all, guys, as I said, if you are new to the preparedness and you don't have anything, or you might just have just a box of plasters in your cupboard there, I strongly suggest do pop in, as I said, to the Home Bargains or anywhere else and pick up one of those. Thereafter, I do suggest that you do build yourself a little extra, because quite often they just have one or two things in there and not a huge amount of selection of sort of plasters and things like that. But again, if you have a look, say again in the Home Bargains and those kind of shops, there's a huge array of extra size plasters and bandages, and they are really, really inexpensive. We're talking about some of them like 30p, 40p, 60p, depending. For very little, you can really build yourself a really, really nice comprehensive first aid kit. But is it genuine? So your point, guys, for you who are just starting out, this is going to be your thing for this week, is pop in and get yourself one of those or build yourself one of them. Again, if you've got a little plastic tub box, just go in there, pick up a few bits and pieces, okay, and build yourself a little kit. As usual, right, all my episodes are coming with a supportive information for yourselves to help you get through, obviously, the series, to help you build up our resilience and preparedness. So I do have, again, on my website, a list of the kits that you'll need for your first aid. And again, it is fairly basic, but it does go into slightly bit more details if you do want to sort of push the boat further a little bit. It's all there for yourself if you do want to build this separately. Secondly, again, for all of you newbies there, I do suggest just to learn one basic skill, whether it's to knowing how to properly dress the wound or learn things like recovery position or anything like that. So now going for the established preppers, again, depending, of course, guys, where you are in terms of the preparedness. And of course, so far, I would expect you to have at least one of the first aid kits at home, and you're maybe in your bag-out bag. But the whole idea, I'm trying to push your preparedness a little bit further where possible. Again, maybe you're already there, that's absolutely fine. But so if you already have one of the kits in your house and your bag-out bag, make sure you have 2 or 3. Make sure if you do have multiple vehicles, make sure that you do have at least one, be it a small or big one, in each of the vehicles just in case. At the same time, make sure, guys, that you have a first aid kit for your pets. If you do have the pets, obviously there's certain things, whether it's cats or dogs, there's a certain things you can have for them, again, for just in case. And another good suggestion I'll make, and again, of course, guys, it is totally up to you whether you preparing for potentially longer time without maybe even medical assistance, not just the first aid kit, is invest some money into one of the books like that. Believe this or not, I bought this book, I think it was on Amazon, for about like £6. It was secondhand or the Amazon warehouse, but I'm sure you can find those kind of books in the different places, even maybe in the charity shops. It has literally got a lot, and it talks about the things that talks about any issues, potentially issues you can have, how to treat certain things. For £6 is a huge book, and it's like encyclopedia of knowledge. So if we're talking about potential SHGF scenario you can get an access to online, or in fact doctors, then just to be able to diagnose certain things, I think £6 I think is absolutely priceless. And of course, the last bit as well, guys, I'm gonna add on to you is I've created a little printout, again, on my website under the 1 week 1 prep as little cards, okay, if you wanted to, cut them out, all right, and just put them in your first aid kit, in a glove box, whatever your kits are. It's basically just the basic thing. You've got the phone numbers there, you've got recovery position, CPR basics, and how to deal with the severe bleeding. It's not like ins and outs of the information, but it's just very basics, because I can assure you, when my incident in the garden happened, the adrenaline goes through the roof and you panic and you can't quite think straight, so your brain fog potentially can set in. So having this in front of you, for God forbid you needed that, it is just there. So if you keep it together in your kit, it is like a basic little reminder to help you out in emergency situation. So nonetheless, that's that. This is really straightforward. It's a really short episode, but just get yourself prepared a little bit at a time. And then as well, as you go forward, if you popping into the shop, just pick up extra plasters, extra dressings. Again, because with the preparedness, some people think, well, you know, you have plasters, you have some dressing, that's fine. But again, in many cases, if you do have some sort of a wound, something has happened, you'll need to be dressing or changing this, well, depending on the situation and severity, rather often. So having just sort of a bunch of 20 plasters, it's not necessarily going to go far. Again, other things to dress the wound, clean the wound. If you imagine you need to nurse something for a week or two, depending, you will need the quantities. So do bear this in mind to what you buy, that the quantities of what you potentially have to deal with need to be increased based on the severity and the length of time it needs to be treated. So anyway, guys, well, hopefully you have found this video helpful. If you did, please don't forget, thumbs up, subscribe if you're not a subscriber, and I shall see you in the next video. Bye-bye.